Hello, friends, and welcome to Pod Return to the Waking Sands. We are a Final Fantasy XIV companion podcast where we explore the lore and story of Hydaelyn and beyond. My name is Jen, and I'm joined by my co-host and researcher.
I'm Levi.
Hey, Levi.
Hey, Jen.
Sounding like sounds over there.
Thanks. Jen's saying stuff weird because our mixer broke, and so we're working on a brand new mixer. Hopefully things got dialed in correctly, but we'll know for sure after a full record and edit if we need to adjust any settings.
And hopefully the recording doesn't just stop recording.
Correct. Yeah. Like was happening before.
Oh. So it was it's been some weeks of issues and trying to troubleshoot and blah blah blah, and we think it's the mixer, and we're so far so good.
So far so good. 1 minute into the recording, and we're killing it.
Woo.
I hope. If the output is odd, we're still dialing in the new hardware, so we'll see if that
bear with us.
That pans out. Also, we are recording super late because we missed our normal recording day because we had to have the new...
We had to order a new mixer.
Correct. So, welcome to Late Night New Hardware Vibes.
Woo!
Speaking of vibes, Jen, today we're going to vibe with those Gnath.
Or rather with the Vath.
Yes,
both.
We'll get into that
the
later.
Vath.
But, Jen, what happened last time? And there's the deer in the headlights.
I never think of this until you ask me. I never practice or recollect before recording, ever.
Getting it raw.
And every single time you ask me, and I'm like, fuck, why didn't I check my notes?
Raw Jen recap.
Okay, so we're in Tailfeather, and we meet the guy at the camp, Marcechamp. He tells us that the Gnath have been kind of getting uppity recently, and this is where we learn Estelle, she hung out in this village right after the calamity because she lost all of her her home, her family, and it's also where she met Hraesvelgr for the first time because she left the shelter of the Calum trees, came face to face with Hraesvelgr. This triggered her echo, and she saw the whole backstory of Dragon and Man and Ishgard and the Holy Seed and blah blah blah. In our quest to find Hraesvelgr, we have to go speak to the dragons at Annex Shrine.
Yeah.
And we find Vidofnir. And Vidofnir is like, we can't. My orders are to stay in town and deal with the attacks from the Gnath and the random bullshit from their god that they've summoned. So that's when we realize that they have summoned a primal. Now we have to deal with that before we can make any headway with dragon diplomacy.
Thank you, Jen.
That I had to reach far back.
And you did it.
Whew.
So we go back to Tailfeather to ask for some help with our Gnath troubles. We're going to the camp leader, Marcechamp. He doesn't know anything about any Gnath religion or any Gnath primals, but he does know some Gnath, or rather Vath, that we can treat with. There's a small hive that the hunters do some trading with from time to time. And if we make an introduction with some gifts, that will get our foot in the door for us to ask our questions. And so we get a shopping list. This includes a good-sized jar of land trap nectar, a basket of Calum tree fruit, and a Gnath favorite, a generous portion of young Nanka flesh. It's gotta be young, Jen.
It's really awful when you go to get this stuff. And of course, we divvy up the errand.
Yeah,
right?
This is a bit dorky to me, the way everyone's like, I will do
I'll
this.
Go get this. Yeah, for sure. Except, Estinian isn't dorky.
He's extremely dorky.
He steps up because, he's dorky in his... Because he's so awkward in this environment. He sticks out like a sore thumb, but he's very true to himself. So there's no awkwardness there, really. It's just because he is so discordant with the rest of the environment. I mean, I'm imagining this because he's leaning up against a wall, right? Away from the discussion in the shadows.
Uh-huh.
And then when this, Marcechamp is like, oh, you know what? You can pick up this, this, and this. And Estinian, he's the first one to speak up. He's like, Batman voice, right? I shall gather the fruit. leaping to the lower branches of these forest giants should present little challenge to me. Like, can you just, it's just straight comedy. And then Izella's like, Alfino and I will do the land trap stuff.
Well, it's not that. She echoes his phrasing, I shall collect the nectar, with Master Alfino's arcane assistance.
And my axe.
Right? I find this to be very dorky. Your mileage may vary.
Yeah. It was a little dorky.
And this puts us on young meat duty, Jen.
Well, yeah, we're the ones who have to go kill stuff because we're the Warrior of Light. And then you've got these little baby Nakas and these huge Nakas, and of course you go off the tiny little baby ones. They're like Lullafell-sized, so you feel kind of bad doing that. We do all this stuff, and Alfino assembles all of the treats, indicating that if he were a Gnath, he would be very impressed with the display. And it took a screenshot of the quote-unquote display because it is a lumpy burlap sack. There was no gift basket vibe. There's no teddy bear or bow or cellophane. It is just a burlap sack with all of the stuff unceremoniously stuffed inside of it.
Where's our Final Fantasy XIV cookbook recipe for the Gnath sack?
Oh, man. Yeah.
Take some meat, take some fruit, take some nectar.
Shove it in.
Dump it in a sack.
Shove. But soon enough, 3 Gnath... Rather Vath. We call them Gnath now because we don't know what they're actually called yet.
Correct.
So we're just going to call them Gnath until they correct us.
And they come skittering up on their little clicky legs.
Yeah, 3 of them are like, "Woo, look at that!" And they're really excited about the goodies. And for emphasis, all of them in turn kind of like the top of their heads, like, "Woo, land trap nectar!" Tap 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 tap. And the next one is like, Nanka meat, tap, 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 tap. Like, it's really cute. And I think for a long time, I kept visualizing their little, they're their heads.
Yeah.
As hats. They're not hats. It's part of their exoskeleton.
Well, it's a hat if you do the tribe quests and you get the Gnath outfit.
Oh my god. I mean, I like it.
Yes.
What I don't like is that their movements are way too coordinated. It doesn't look natural. It's basically copy paste. That always takes me out of it.
This is a issue in this game for years to come. Sorry to say, Jen, with the animations not being super organic.
Yeah,
like
it's like everybody nodding after agreeing on a course of action, and literally everybody nods at the exact same time. I'm like, no, stop. It's weird.
I like their little tippy taps, Jen.
No, that's fine. It's they do another thing that was way too in sync for me, like literally.
Maybe it's their hive mind, Jen, acting up.
Except these guys don't have one. So, but old habits are hard to break.
You can get sucked back in.
Oh my god.
As we'll learn in the side quest section.
Anywho,
we get invited back to the Gnath camp, which is now going to be called the Vath camp, which is cramped and stifling and has a rancid incense that keeps the dragons at bay.
Yes, you should come and stay with us in our horribly smelly dwellings.
We do. This hive is a pretty modest little cluster of organic-looking fixtures tucked into a rocky alcove.
It's like if termites had some design sensibilities. It basically looks like all of these structures are made out of like mouth pulp.
Yeah.
But they're kind of pretty in a weird way.
Once we arrive, our escort bids us to speak to the storyteller at the central portion of the camp. This guy is pretty amiable. Alfino asks for knowledge. If it is words you desire, then words you shall have. We are the Vath, the non-mind, and to speak is our fate.
Which is a weird thing to say.
You will hear the tale of the Gnath's god, of the god the One Mind summoned into our midst. The storyteller goes on to explain that the One Mind are the main Gnath colony. They are as one, connected. But to start at the beginning, some time ago, a single wounded dragon fell from the sky. Seeing this opportunity, it was swarmed by the Gnath and slain. Estinian thinks this is the perfect time to chime in. 'Twas likely one that had fled battle with my kinsmen. I should commend you for finishing the job. And Izelle looks at him exasperatedly. She is so tired of his bullshit.
She shoots him a look, and he's like, what? It's true.
But ignoring the back and forth, the storyteller continues. The one mind would always cower when dragons passed over, but no longer. They had learned that a battle-weary Dravanian was easy prey. Thus did the one mind decide to heed the words of the black-robed men. The one mind would call forth our god and unleash his blades upon the dragons. Which sounds awfully familiar.
Tale as old as time. I mean, yeah, they got to keep doing their shtick. It's the only idea they have at the moment, apparently.
But the one mind seeks for Dravanian lands to become Gnath lands. Their god ever hungers. His demands in crystals far exceed the rewards for this war. And the Vath despise and revile his insatiable existence. Now Izel thinks she needs to defend herself here. So she hops in and says, when I called upon a primal, it was for the greater good. I knew the cost to the land, and I willingly shoulder the burden of this sin. Which I don't think is the defense she thinks it is, but that's what she says.
Yep.
I knew it was bad, therefore it's okay.
I mean, and Alphinaud was like, well, that distinction is questionable at best. But the Gnath's motivations were correctly identified by Izel as dangerous and short-sighted. And their god must be destroyed immediately.
Alphinaud does admit that his grandfather had done a similar deed with the 12 in an attempt to prevent the calamity. So his family is not blameless either in such doings.
Yeah, that was big of him to admit.
Jen, side note, and I don't know how much we can talk about at this point in time in terms of not getting ahead of ourselves spoiler-wise, but I feel like the game makes it pretty clear what the 12 were during the whole Louisoix summoning early on. Like, Gaius also kind of calls it out as well, but I feel like it's kind of not admitted to by the main story until some expansions later. Here, Alphinaud essentially says what Louisoix's divine intervention actually was.
I guess. Knowing what we know now, sure.
It feels very much like the story kind of gives you all the pieces, but just does not give you the full picture officially until much later. But I, on my first playthrough, was pretty wise to what was going on with the whole Calamity summoning thing long before we get into that story-wise. So I don't know. Again, it feels like it's being coy, but not really.
I mean, honestly, all of Eorzeans have done the same thing that Izel is doing, which is kind of drawing a line of distinction between what the Beastmen are doing versus what we're doing. I mean, if they take a moment to really think about it, they're like, well, it's not that different.
Eorzeans aren't what did this, though. It was Louisoix who led this.
No. Like, as far as, like, well, because he was on our side, essentially. You know what I mean? Like,
well, sure, but they don't know what he did. Literally, actually, because of the whole, like, memory wipe thing. But also, at that time, the pitch was for people to give their fervent prayers to the 12 to intervene. There is no self-delusion going on the side of the, quote, Eorzeans because they don't know what happened.
You're right.
Wholly beside the point right now, I just find it odd that Alphinaud is so explicit at this point in the story when I feel like it's kind of MO is to be cagey about the deal. Maybe I'm wrong in their meaning to be so explicit. I don't know. Moving on.
After Alphinaud, essentially, there's a primal out there that we need to destroy, and we have to do it immediately, which basically volunteers us for the job. And Estinian chucks Alphinaud saying that, we know nothing about this god, and, flippantly suggesting sending the warrior light to her death is pretty fucking irresponsible. And Alphinaud agrees, that's a fair point. We should probably speak with the Vath to figure out the best way to, quote-unquote, secure an audience with their god. God, all of the securing audiences with things that just, you don't typically secure audiences to. Like members of the OG Brood and Primal, whatever.
So before we go on, Jen, another comment. Estinian calls out Alphinaud for volunteering us, the Warrior of Light, for yet another primal battle. And Alphinaud is chastised. He's like, well, I'm sorry, you're right. I should not be volunteering this person's life.
Yeah, we don't know anything about this dude. I mean...
But we go, yeah, sure, sounds great.
And you get an option here, and it's like, I do not fear my duty. Or you can just look at him silently, and I was like, I do not fear my duty. I know what my job is. I know what my role is. I know what I'm doing here.
Right. Izel goes, she is happy to hop in here and say, I have the Echo too. I can fight a primal.
Yeah.
And now, of course, she has opened herself up for more Estinian snipes.
Like, how dare you?
Do you truly imagine yourself a second warrior of light? Remind me, how many primals have you faced, my lady?
Oh.
Not that it matters. We know not where this god resides, unless you mean to pray until it appears.
Man, he's got zingers.
Yeah, that last part is pure spite.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Not like, that's uncalled for. The first part, maybe.
He's Estinian, man.
He's Estinian man.
He's so spicy, and I love that this is our, like, very first, not very first, but, like, this whole quest, we're getting real up close and personal with Estinian, and everything we've seen so far is, like, this fucking guy.
The kids in the back of the car fighting during the road trip.
It's like, so fantastic. But the stakes are high, and the things that these people are saying to each other, I mean, more Estinian to Izel than anything, but are just, like, vicious and cutting. Yeah, he's got roasts for Izel for days. Right. And she's always taking the high road.
Mostly taking the high road.
Mostly hate taking the high road, but it's great.
Anyway, so that's that. We're on now to our Vath interviews.
Yeah, like, hey, if we wanted to go hang out with your god, what would you suggest we do? I think, like, the first guy is like, just don't. That seems really stupid. And you seem nice, so maybe don't. Second guy, I think it's the second guy, was like, other than pissing off the Gnath and getting brought in as a sacrifice, I honestly have no idea. Because, yeah, that's a stupid decision. And third guy, I don't know if that was, like, the storyteller. I mean, basically, the consensus was, like, don't. Just
But if you want to, you can offer yourself as a sacrifice.
But that also seems crazy and dumb.
And a waste of such generous hunters.
Correct. And agreed. And then there's, like, a fourth dude. This fourth guy, he uses his opportunity to request more Nanka meat. Because why not? So
this
we're like,
is a very weird detour. So we just fought Nanka for the meat offering. And now we leave. We kill a single Nanka. And then we return.
Just for this guy. And I hope, like, his other buddies aren't looking, because they'd be like, oh, we could have done that the whole time? This is bullshit. You know what?
It is bullshit.
It favors the bold. Whatever. There's some kind of saying about that. But we go get him some stuff, and we bring it back, and he does have a little bit of a pro tip for us. So the senses of the one mind, that is the Gnath, are enmeshed by the overmind. And so what one sees, all see. What one feels, all feel. So attempting to access their god without their knowledge is basically impossible. Okay, well, lesson learned. So after all this, the one mind can telepathically communicate via the overmind, and this is why the Vath storyteller said that their fate is to speak. Because they can't do it telepathically anymore, they have to actually use their words. So that makes sense. By virtue of that, the Vath, the non-mind, are disconnected from this entire setup, and they can't even, at this point, surmise the motivations of their own god. And Estinian is overhearing all of this as we're talking about it, and he's like, oh, so this was a huge waste of time. Great. Awesome. Super. And Izel is like, no. There was one useful suggestion. To present ourselves as a sacrifice and get led into the chamber.
I know it's not relevant to what's going on, Jen, but before that happens, Alphino feels compelled to explain everything we just learned.
100%.
Just walks through everything we learned again. Let me sum it all up for you.
Oh, thank you, Alphino. Despite being here and doing all the things and hearing all the words, I still wasn't quite getting it.
Anyway, yeah, so the plan is to offer ourselves as sacrifices.
Or at least Izel and us, because we have the Echo, we're not going to be whatever. So Estinian is also like, I'd go too, but the eye doesn't protect me from tempering. So I have to sit this one out. Wah wah. Otherwise he would have. He totally would have. The plan now is for Izel and us to go poke the Gnath. and poke them enough that they are like, now we must take you to our god. And we do that. It's pretty easy.
There is a lot of Gnath/Vath lore, but we'll be back later on for the Allied Society quests.
Right, my bad.
And that's when we'll delve deeply into the Gnath/Vath, so stay tuned for that in a while. We head for the Gnath Hive now, and we've seen this from a distance so far. There is a sickly green cloud of gas hanging over this entire area, and as we approach, we can check out this excellent-looking area. It is riddled with these giant oval-like Gnath structures. These ovoid structures.
Yeah, they're like long, pointy eggs.
It's kind of like a cross between a termite mound and a wasp nest, because they don't come up from the ground, these big spires, but they're also densely clustered, and the texture is very much like the termite mound texture.
Yeah, totally.
But they are hanging structures, and they connect off one another.
They're like supported by these like thin like pedestals underneath them, so they're off the ground, and then but the bulk of them look kind of like torpedo-ish, bug shapes.
Bug shapes.
And they love this like octagonal porthole window style, which is it's an interesting choice. I like it. I think it works, but it also seems like this was in an eave at the front of every tract home development built in the late 80s. Hopefully that's evocative enough. Anyway, continue.
That's all. We arrive there and we fight some Gnath. And Jen, this is a difficult area if you're at level, especially if you're a melee character, because these guys will aggro on you. This place is almost as dangerous as the Quiveron Manse.
Oh, shit. I love that was like level 11, and it still fills me with fear.
That's because this place does not do difficult outdoor areas, with rare exceptions.
Yeah, this is spicy for sure. And they've got a lot of dudes that fire range. They just lob fire bombs at you, and so you might be dealing with a couple of dudes, and then you're like, where are all these fucking fire bombs coming from? And they shoot
bullets, and they have casters.
They're everywhere. Yeah, it's really hard to juke them. So
you're tempted to rush the quest marker, obviously, but don't do it, because you will get swarmed and probably die.
Slow and steady, man.
So we pick our way forward one by one, reaching the purple fight circles, which spawn a few weaker Gnath and repeat. Eventually, we get pretty deep into the hive, and Izel calls it quits. We've done enough damage, so it's time to surrender.
Yeah, we've poked 30 Gnath at this point, so I think we're good. We've laid a decent foundation.
And as a swarm of Gnath approach us, we say, "You got us?"
Oh no. Gee, I guess you're gonna have to take us to your god or something for judgment.
And they do. They escort us deep underground within the hive. On the way there, Izel tells us to let her handle things. She knows all about these summoning rituals.
Well, fair.
She also takes note of an underground river, a rushing river. We could use its noise to cover our escape.
Yeah, she's kind of Jason Bourne this whole situation. She's like, you hear that river back there? Yeah, so if we've got to bail, we can use that sound to cover our tracks. Like,
just us. If we want to go, like, buy potions or check our retainers or whatever before the big fight.
What are you talking about? I thought that was a reference to me cleaning up my inventory before we did Occult Crescent.
No.
Oh, okay.
It was, she literally says, like, don't let me die while you're dickering over the price of potions.
So this was like weird. So I made a point to bring it up. So she like triple checks with us that so we're standing in front of the chamber. The Gnath are around us, like there's no fast movements there, bucko. She triple checks with us, like, are you ready to do this? No, like, for reals. Are you ready to do this? Because I'll be damned if I'm dragged into the chamber while you're haggling over potion prices. And I'm like, with whom? Where am I buying potions right now in this moment while you're dragged into a chamber with a god?
The inference is that you leave through the river and then you go and buy potions and then she dies while you're doing that.
That makes no sense, girl, but okay. We're new. Okay, we haven't done a lot together.
They did the same thing, actually, with Ifrit normal, because we had, like, the lake that we could sneak out of if we wanted to go shopping before the Ifrit boss fight.
It's just making canon the fact that as a player, you can be like, I gotta go bail and upgrade my gear and
exactly
then come
that.
back. Okay.
And they stopped bothering later on. I don't know when, but at some point they're like, screw it, we don't care. Just, you can teleport out. We're not going to
It's actually less immersive when they do that.
It is,
because it's calling attention to the fact that you can do that.
Yes,
so,
and yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, choices. And it was like, it was very confusing.
Regardless, though,
anyway,
once we confirm to Izel, we are escorted forwards into a chamber that is full of great crystal stockpiles. A Gnath priest calls out,
O Lord Ravana, master of the sacred blades, wrath of the colony, conqueror of the world, hear our prayer. Pray grant unto your devoted children the gift of your divine presence.
And 4 gleaming curved blades materialize, piercing the floor and spinning in a rapid circle. Flames burst forth from the interior.
Flameado.
And from them emerges a great insectoid humanoid, Ravana.
I love that Radiohead album.
All strength to the colony. Speak and I shall listen.
Okay.
Jen, Ravana is the wrath of the colony and god and savior of the Gnath tribe. A proud warrior and conqueror, Lord Ravana exalts strength and abhors weakness in any form.
Sure.
Believing the right of combat to be sacred, he revels in battle with worthy opponents while wielding the Chandrahas, the legendary blades of moonlight.
They're pretty sweet.
P-sweet.
Pretty sweet. So we're looking at this man, guy, god, insect god, whatever. He's probably like, what, 15 feet high?
Thereabouts, sure.
It's pretty big. And Izel, as promised, it's like, let me handle this, all right? I know how to speak, primal to primal. She confronts Ravana and asks him why he leads the Gnath in a war against the dragons. And he's like, why do you care? And she explains that, why do you care? Oh, wait, maybe you want to form a pact between us to go against the dragons together. And she's like, actually, no. We don't want a pact. We are seeking peace with the dragons, and your continued aggressions are antithetical to that goal. So why, of all things you could be doing, are you, Ravana, leading the Gnath into war? And he says literally, I don't understand the question. To live is to fight. Next. Okay, well, and then he's like, they willed me into existence, so what do you expect me to do? So at this point, Izel offers Ravana a deal. We fight him, and if we win, they cease all dragon fighting. Y'all are done. If we lose, then we join the Gnath and join the Gnath army until we die. Fair? And he's like, that sounds good to me. And Izel says, I think the first round is mine. And she summons Shiva, or rather becomes Shiva. And we're thinking, oh shit.
Yeah, she's stealing their crystals. She sucks up the crystals in the chamber.
All of them?
Some of them. Because
I'm like, okay, there's a crystal sucking fight between the two of them. You can't have two primals in such close proximity because there's going to be a battle, and we're going to see the aftermath of this real quick. Basically, Shiva, she does all of her stuff. It's very impressive, and we think like, oh, look at that. We've got a primal in our back pocket. This is going to be super sweet.
I got the opposite impression, actually, Jen. It felt like she was no match for him. It felt like she was...
Immediately?
Yeah, because she, first off, tries to diamond dust Ravana, and he's like trapped. And we think for a second he might be got. Not really, though, because we're genre savvy. But it appears he's got, and then he twitches and shatters the diamond dust.
Yeah.
And at that point, though, Shiva's done. She tries her ice blast and her more diamond
goes
dust,
through her
and
whole
nothing
repertoire.
works. Ravana just like cuts down her
boop,
ice and
boop,
breaks through
boop.
and all that stuff. So she is heavily outmatched here.
Yeah, she couldn't suck up enough juice. Ravana was hogging it all.
That's her excuse.
I mean, I think that's a valid excuse, frankly. He was there first. You know, he's got dibs. So that is disappointing. And now it's our turn. And Ravana is all like, yeah, boy, good luck to you.
He goes, and what of thee, mortal? Art thou warrior or craven?
We gonna fight.
We are warrior, obviously.
Obviously.
And we march forth into his circular raised chamber with no exits. And our 7 adventuring companions materialize out of nowhere to help us.
Neat.
Which is very awkward, so we will not think about it.
Right. That seems like cheating. Like Isel probably could have used the help when she was doing it, but
no.
But no.
So we now begin the Ravana trial. The trial structure in this game's expansions, unfortunately, does not allow us to do our previous format, which was to play the normal and then the hard, rather the normal than the extreme right afterwards, and then talk about the extreme mainly because there's more going on there. So we're not going to be able to hit the Ravana Extreme trial until level 60, so it'll be some months before we can talk about Ravana Extreme. Fortunately, normal trials in later content are a lot more challenging than the A Realm Reborn pushover regular trials. However, Ravana normal is a pushover, so there's not much to say about him today.
Yeah, I went in as a white mage, and nobody died, so that tells you how easy it is.
That was an unnecessary burn on Jin.
Yeah.
Jin does great. You're so happy about that. Take that, Jin. Gotcha.
Yeah, you suck.
Anyway, on to the fight. Our arena is a circular raised platform somewhere deep in the Hive. We can see more of the ovoid Hive structures hanging in the ambient red haze. Our platform is surrounded by these stretched hide things mounted on wooden frames, kind of like a safety rail to prevent us from plunging into the abyss.
It's very thoughtful.
For now. Ravana rises from the floor in a swirl of flaming blades as the music kicks in, and this is some kick-ass music, Jen.
This is some of the best music, like, so far.
Yeah, both Phase 1 and 2, but sadly, like regular Shiva and regular Leviathan, we do not get to appreciate the Phase 2 music because it ends almost immediately.
We took a little bit of time, but it wasn't immediate, but, you know.
Almost immediately.
It was, yeah. The Dark Knight, there was one, both of the tanks were Dark Knights when I did it, and one of them was extraordinarily dramatic. They had a macro that at no point did they use Living Dead. Nobody got to that point.
Sure, I hope not.
But But he had spammed twice in chat this macro that was like, I'm bleeding out, save me. And I'm like, bro, your health has gone down like 20% at most. Like, what is happening? Anyway.
Goodness.
Fucking Dark Knights.
Jen, in my fight, honestly, Jen, I'm getting kind of sick of tanking in this game.
Uh-oh.
Dungeons are fine, but I'm tired of like the passive-aggressive pissing match that happens between two tanks in any 8-person content because the devs refuse to design fights for 2 tanks, with a few notable exceptions. In general, though, there's like one tank, then one hanging out in case the main tank dies.
Yeah, DPS 5th.
So I hop in here as Paladin, and I don't have my stance on because I'm sick of, again, like the stance.
Yeah, like, fuck it, whatever.
Measuring
don't
contents.
Fight me. I don't care.
So the Dark in my party, Jen, they queue in without the stance. So I'm like, okay, no one's stance is on, stance on, go and pull the boss.
Yeah.
Then they turn their stance on and proceed to stand on top of me.
Are you kidding? Okay. So, 2 things. There could be two possibilities here. Okay. One is giving them the benefit of the doubt, which is they're probably new to tanking and they don't understand that one tank has to like not be doing tank stuff, which that totally would have been me. I mean, like, I'm a tank, my stance is on, we're yeah, look at us here at the front of the boss, bro. Yeah, high five, co-tank. And then the second one is they're a dick.
Anyway, Jen, honestly, I would switch to healer main if it weren't for the fact that playing a healer outside of group content is absolutely tedious.
Oh my god. You push the one button. The one button.
So I don't know how to resolve this issue, but I am becoming increasingly fed up with the tank measuring contest. It was especially bad for me during the current raid series.
Oh, is it?
Not the Alliance raid, the regular raid. The normal.
Okay. Yeah.
I swear, like every single time, because again, being a tank main previously, I have my tank fully geared. I have not gotten all my other jobs fully geared because I don't spend that much time in game, honestly, to get every job to current gear cap. So my tank's good, other jobs are lagging behind. So I go and do the raid series as tank, and every single fight, it's like some sort of piss off with other tanks. So I've just given up on trying to have my stance on. I don't like the whole chicken who's going to drop their stance first thing.
Honestly, what would be cool if the devs did something like a random number generator at the very beginning, and they assigned it, you have no choice. Your main tank, you're off tank. That's it.
That seems bad for other reasons, but
or you
bad.
could make a macro that's basically let's rock paper scissors, bro.
I will never make a macro that says text in chat besides raising person.
The raise one is one of the only acceptable macros, but I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, that's my tank woes right now, Jen. So I don't know how to resolve it. I don't want to play healer main because, again, I don't like running solo content as healer. It's awful. Sorry, healers, but it's true. And also, I don't like playing DPS because I like having support functions. I like being able to monitor the fight and see what's going on and make decisions that affect more besides the damage I'm outputting.
That's on brand, yes.
Huge detour. We're fighting Ravana. Here we go. Talking about some normal Ravana mechanics. By the way, it is called Ravana Hard. I don't care. Moving on. Mm-hmm. First off, he's got a directional counter. He will either cast Seeing Wings or Seeing Tail. Wings means he will parry attacks from the left and right. Tail means front and back. So if you attack him from that direction, you will get countered on. Does not matter. I went into the normal trial blind. I hit the parries. I was fine. I went in blind too, yeah. Yeah, it will not affect you. Healers might have to heal, which they're probably happy to do, honestly, in this fight. So,
yeah, I definitely did some stuff.
Yeah, there are parries that will matter, of course, in the extreme.
Also, the trail is called Thok-est Thok.
Yes.
Yeah.
So which is the place we're in.
Yeah.
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 Besides that, you got your AoEs like you do, whatever, and then there are the butterflies. The butterflies are high priority adds because if you don't kill them in time, they will turn into these swords, which Ravana will use in his phase change attack. And enough missed butterflies will be a wipe, no matter what. We now get to the phase change, Bloody Fuller, which is where we all get levitated and Ravana unleashes some hella sword swipes. This also destroys some sections of that protective fencing, so don't stand in front of the empty sections. He will do some AoE knockbacks. If you're in front of the knocked out fence sections, you will fall into the abyss and die. The other new mechanic to watch out for is the 4-sword mechanic, where 4 players get numbered swords over their head. Ravana will dash between those players. Don't stand around or between them if you are not numbered, and ideally they spread out in like a circle or zigzag pattern to not kill other people with their numbered sword dashes. That's the fight. For me, Jen, we got the phase change and we cleared the fight in 20 to 30 seconds after the phase change.
Yeah.
So again, very, very simple. No chance to actually enjoy that sweet ass phase 2 music, but we'll be back later. Don't worry.
There was, there's been more than one, but on the subreddit, there were some people that do ballroom dancing, and for their competitions, they used the song as it's a waltz, so they used it to great success. It's such a good song.
It is. Once Ravana is defeated, Isel is suitably impressed And we're now able to secure Vidofnir's cooperation.
Yeah. She was like, you know what? This is the first time I've been able to kind of observe you not as a primal you're fighting. And you are super good at stuff. I'm like, thank you.
At certain stuff, yes.
Yeah, fighting stuff.
Crafting stuff.
Not in saying no, not in setting boundaries,
No.
but in fighting, yes.
We return to the Vath Hive. Zell tells everyone that we were super cool. Estinian tells everyone that he believed in us all along.
He did.
Unlike Master Alphino, who nigh lost his wits with worry, fretting like a maid for her sweetheart he was.
Oh, that's so embarrassing. There's so much of this throughout the game where people are just so fast to throw Alphino and Alize under the bus for hand-wringing over the Warrior of Light. And I love it, because they're always just like, shut up!
And Zell does call Estinian out on the side.
Like, stop giving him such a hard time. He's a kid.
Exactly. For all of his experience and intellect, Alphino is still but a boy.
Mm-hmm.
And that concludes our MSQ for the day. But we have, of course, a side quest roundup.
Sure. Which I did not do, but I'm here to hear it.
Thank you for your efforts in listening to the side quests.
No problem. It's really hard work, but...
First, there is another side quest in Tailfeather. This one's not super interesting. It's more kind of like for the world buildings, because it's about a chocobo gone bad.
Oh, no.
Or maybe it's a chocobo gone good.
Wild? Oh.
Well, yes, that for sure, but more. It depends on who you are, obviously, Jen. This is a very like hunter-centric quest. But I think there's a second side to the story. So we go back to see Marsachamp, and he tells us that an unnaturally large chocobo has attacked a hunter. This is not allowed. The hunters cannot become the hunted. So we head out to collect info from the hunter camps. And we learn that this critter has been attacking unprovoked. One hunter was knocked out in a single kick.
That checks out. Have you ever fought a cassowary?
I have not, Jen. Have you?
Not personally, no. But that sounds correct. Oh, also kangaroos.
Marsachamp concludes there's only one way to handle this bird, with death.
Really?
When one of their kind gets something like this in its head, ain't no way it'll ever be fit for riding.
I mean, if this were our tabletop RPG group, Megan would absolutely tame this beast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or die trying.
Probably yes.
The only choice we have is to put the bird down. So we go on the hunt, finding it menacing a hunter just up the river, and we give chase deeper into the forest. We finally corner it in the far northern reaches, and we fight, slaying the chocobo.
No.
And that's that. We've put down the chocobo rebellion. Marsachamp says he doesn't like it, but it's what we gotta do. Another chapter closed in the chocobo forest.
Okay, great. Good story.
Thanks, Jen.
Yeah. I mean, it's not yours, but...
We now go to the Vath Hive for a bunch of non-mind quests. There are a lot of Vath quests, Jen.
God, there are.
Too many, in my opinion, because we do the same exact thing during the actual Allied Society quests, Jen.
Thank you.
So there's no need to do this stuff all like as a preamble.
You should have just saved it for the stuff.
Yes, and yes.
You would have had to write less things.
Correct.
Anyway.
So there's a bunch of like hunting food and so on for some hungry Vath and blah, blah, blah. But there are a few lore tidbits that emerge from the process, Jen. First off, as we go and hunt more and more food down for some very hungry Vath, we learn, after they have us hunt some more Nanka meat, that only warriors are fed meat in the One Mind.
Oh.
But for one such as them, being able to eat meat whenever the mood takes them, it truly is an advantage to being a non-mind.
I agree. That's huge.
And then, Jen, we get the secret of the Vath firearms, the Vath and Gnath firearms.
Oh.
One of them asks us to go and gather these yellow pebbles from far away, which are presumably sulfur.
Yeah.
This is over in the dragon areas. When we return, we are thanked, and informed these pebbles are used to make fire sand. They grind them up and mix them with our... Actually, never mind. It's dung, Jen.
Yes, it is.
The secret is dung. Finally, there's a sequence with a new drone. Out in the Gnath Hive, we can find a non-aggressive Gnath, the non-mind drone. They're confused. Where are we? Who are we? We cannot hear our orders.
Uh-oh.
What do we do?
Oh, he's new.
We likewise don't know how to handle people not telling us what to do, so we go ask the Vath for guidance.
Guys.
And the storyteller informs us this is a newly awakened non-mind, so
Yeah.
we guide them back.
Oh, like a little baby.
We do so, and the new Vath is pleased with their new individuality.
Good for him.
So they ask us to go and gather 3 hipposurf skins. We do, no questions asked. It turns out that the new drone wants to wander the world and see its sights, but wants to give the Vath here a goodbye present before it leaves.
That's so nice.
So it gives the skins to the storyteller and says, please eat. It is truly exquisite. The storyteller does, agreeing, yes, truly exquisite. The new Vath goes, glad you liked it, okay, bye, and leaves. And after they leave, the storyteller spits out the skin,
Oh no!
telling us that it was truly disgusting.
No.
But such is individuality.
Aw. Well, I mean, hopefully they can still use the skins for something else. But, the storyteller was a nice guy. It's real cute.
As a final aside, there's another sequence with a newly born drone, but this one is a no-show. They vanished on the way back to the Vath Hive. And it turns out that they heard the Overmind speak again
Uh-oh.
and were reabsorbed into the Hive Mind.
Dang it.
Rip that one.
Maybe next time.
And that's everything. Any closing comments from you, Jen?
Not really. There's no real drama here.
There is hella drama.
I mean,
We fought a whole primal and
news.
Izel and Asinian going at it.
Also old news. We enjoy it, but we've already talked about it. The Vath are delightful.
Oh, we forgot to mention there is a scene after we kill Ravana where there's an Asian appearing going...
Oh, right. Igiorm.
Yep.
The Asian shows up and she's like, yeah, well, we're just going to do it again.
Yes,
Basically,
pretty much, doing
yeah.
Asian shit.
Once more you achieve the impossible, bringer of light. But with every mortal heart that succumbs to fear and fury, another voice is joined to the chorus, beseeching divine succor. At their bidding, warring gods will shake the firmament, and your world will be consumed in the swelling storm of chaos.
Blip. See you next time.
Yes, and yes.
It's so funny. Like, Asians show up, we're like, whatever.
Pretty much.
Doesn't even matter.
Get a new gimmick. Seriously.
Like, oh, a new Asian. So now maybe we can go talk to Hrace Felger.
No, Jen, because 1, we have to talk to Vidofnir
Well,
first,
that's what I mean,
and 2,
you
next
badass.
week, Jen, we're off for the second week of our vacation break. Yeah, because of recording magic, we're slotting this one in between 2 break weeks, even though we took 2 weeks off in a row, IRL, Jen. And also, next time, episode-wise, we are going to be doing the Carpenter job quest before picking up that MSQ again.
I don't remember this at all.
Same.
So that should be fun.
Yeah, same and same.
I wonder what Beaton's been up to this whole time. Not that we're going to be dealing with him. At first, yes.
At first, yes, then who knows?
I'm almost bummed that we're not dealing with him. He's such a weirdo.
Well, we'll find out, Jen, what happens in 2 times.
In 2 times.
Bye.
And that will do it for today's episode. Thank you all so much for listening, and thank you for not vacillating when you decide which Final Fantasy XIV podcast you want to listen to. If you want to get in touch with us, you can at podreturnffxiv@gmail.com. You can check us out on Blue Sky. Also check the show notes for our Discord. We've got a ton of people on there that talk about all sorts of stuff, and they're super awesome. We do group runs. We share pictures of our pets and our blams, and it's a great time, and we would love to have you. And last but not least, our Patreon, patreon.com/podreturnffxiv, where for $1 a month you can join up and get access to all of the other content we release, such as the seasonal events from 14, our Final Fantasy XI series, Vanadiel Van Splainer, and some other random crap, so check it out. And with that, we hope you enjoyed the episode. Have a good day or night, and we will see you next time.